And these are 5 things that will prevent you from keeping your financial goals on track. What's up everyone, David here with Free2Be, and today I want to go over 5 things that are basically mistakes that prevent people from keeping their financial focus and financial goals on track. Now, all 5 of these might not be relevant to you specifically, but these are 5 pretty common mistakes that a lot of people make, so make sure you tune in for the entire video. Now, before I get started, as always, if you are new to my channel, I cover financial literacy here in an effort to track my progress to financial independence, and hopefully by doing that, I'm creating valuable content that others can use in their pursuit to financial independence as well. So if you are new to the channel or haven't done so already, please take a moment and just click the subscribe button down below. It's a completely free action to take and it really does help support the channel. And if you aren't new and joining me again, thanks for coming back. Okay, so financial mistakes are things that, we're inevitably going to make at some point. No one is immune to making mistakes in their life, so it'd be foolish to think that you're gonna go through your whole life and never make one of these mistakes. The key here is just to be aware of them so that you can consciously try to avoid them whenever possible. So the first big financial mistake to avoid is setting too many goals for yourself. When you set goals, you should be really strategic about it and really thoughtful in every single goal that you set. Because if you do set too many goals for yourself, you're really just going to be spinning yourself in circles, trying to accomplish every single one. And honestly, that's just not a realistic way to approach savings, specifically for big financial goals. So instead, try to pare down those goals. And personally, I like building them up year to year and changing the goals year to year because things change, your life changes over time, and your financial priorities will change over time as well. So keep it simple. Pick 5 goals for the year, 5 financial goals that are easily reachable or, aren't too far out of reach, and then try to accomplish those goals. Once you complete those goals, reassess the goals for the following year. Or as you knock them down, maybe then you add a couple more. So prioritize, have a list of your top 5 goals for the year, and then have an alternate list of an additional 10 goals that are nice to complete if you can, but aren't necessarily priorities for that given year. As you accomplish these 5 goals, you can then sub in some other goals to fill that list and keep you always at around 5 goals at a time. But this way you don't feel overwhelmed or overburdened by all these goals you have to accomplish, and it keeps your finances on track. Now, the second financial mistake that you want to avoid in order to keep everything on schedule in terms of getting to retirement is focusing too much energy on paying down debt. Now, I know that goes against a lot of what I've mentioned on this channel before and making sure that debt is a focus. And while it should be, specifically when it comes to high interest debt, you shouldn't focus all of your energy and finances and money to paying off those debts without actually saving any for retirement or long-term financial goals. It's all about keeping a balance here. Yes, make sure that you prioritize getting rid of high interest loans or credit card debt first. But once you've accomplished that, you don't necessarily need to throw every single penny that you earn at debt that's relatively low cost to maintain. So things like a mortgage or an auto loan, if these things are below 4%, you're okay. It's cheap debt. You can keep that debt in place. Yes, try to throw money at it as much as possible, but don't use every single last resource you have on trying to get rid of that debt. Instead, find a balance, maybe the minimum payment plus a little bit extra, and then put the rest of the money that you have available to you into some savings. Because the last thing you want to do is to be completely debt-free, ready to retire, and don't have enough money in retirement savings. And again, I understand that that's something that you can build up too, but honestly, having time on your side is the best thing you can have when it comes to saving. But honestly, having time on your side is the best thing that you can have when saving for retirement. So make sure that you're allocating funds to that as well. Now, the third thing that can completely derail your financial goals is not allocating any kind of funds for those one-time bills. And what do I mean by that? Bills are recurring. They happen on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis. What are one-time bills? How would I plan for one-time bills? Well, a perfect example for that is holiday shopping. You know that that is going to occur once a year at the end of the year. So why not plan for that? Why not have that in the budget so that when November comes around, so you're not hit with the burden of how am I going to fund this, shopping spree that I have to go on and get my friends and family gifts. Put that in the budget. Plan for that. Plan for those one-time bills that aren't necessarily recurring on a monthly basis, but you do know and are aware that they do come up from time to time. Birthdays is another example. Do you have a lot of family members that have birthdays in the summer? Plan for that. And you don't have to plan necessarily to save up $1,000 when you get close to November either. You can go ahead and split that out into a bill system for yourself. So if you do plan on spending $600 around the holidays for gifts for family and friends, save $50 a month. Put that aside for that bill, and then eventually come closer to the end of the year, you'll have that $600 available to you to spend on those gifts. But if you completely forget to account for those things, then you're really gonna derail your finances come the end of the year. Now, the fourth mistake that you want to avoid when it comes to keeping finances on track is completely neglecting and forgetting about taxes that you may owe. Did you generate some extra income this year? Did you sell some stock? Did you come across any kind of money that would fluctuate on a year-to-year basis that would actually cause you to owe more in taxes? If that is the case, then you should be planning for that as well. Make sure you account for those taxes. People that are in the industries like real estate and things like this where they're commission-based and they're not actually employees but are contractors will often get the lump sum of money that they earned paid to them in cash, and then they have to figure out and factor in their own taxes. So the same applies to you and I. If you pick up a side hustle where you're a contractor and not necessarily an employee, if you start your own business, any extra income that you generate throughout the year that's not taxed when you actually receive it will have a tax bill associated with it in the following year when you file your taxes, so you have to account for that as well. Now, this is particularly important if you're trying to set up passive income streams. Make sure you're tracking exactly how much income you're making off of each of these streams, and so you can pay the correct amount of taxes when those taxes are due. But by completely neglecting to do this, you could really put yourself in a tough financial position when you get that bill. When you actually go through and file your taxes and you see that the amount you owe could be several thousands of dollars, it could really put you in a pinch. So plan for it accordingly. If you're making some extra money right away, as soon as you get that amount, put 30 to 35 aside for taxes, maybe a couple $100s of extra money every single month away for taxes. And then if you don't end up needing it, you don't end up needing it, but it's better to have some saved just in case. And finally, the fifth mistake you want to avoid when it comes to keeping your finances on track is investing based on emotion. You never want to invest based on emotion when it comes to the stock market. And if you decide to invest in specific companies, make sure you're doing your diligence and are investing based on the numbers, not necessarily just based on emotions or hunches. You don't want to be the one that's holding that asset class last when it's actually going this way instead of this way. So make sure when you're investing, you leave the emotion at the door. Invest smart. The approach I usually take is I buy a certain amount of stock every quarter. And once that stock starts to perform the way I want it to do, I immediately get rid of a portion of that stock so that I can recoup my costs and a little bit of profit and invest that money elsewhere. And by doing this, by cycling out the different shares you own for different companies, you're gonna always make sure that you have a little bit of profit and you can play that against something else and continue letting your portfolio grow. But when you invest based on emotion, you tend to sit there and stick with one company because you just have a good feeling about this company and where they're going to end up at. Maybe you have good memories associated with this company, or maybe you just want to hold on to those shares just for a little bit of extra profit. But in those cases, you tend to get a little greedy, and with that comes the opportunity to actually lose a lot more than you would gain. So remember, when you're investing, it should not be based on emotion. It should be about numbers, facts, and the data that you have reviewed and analyzed. And so by being aware of these 5 mistakes, you can really make sure that your finances stay on track for the long term. Remember, if you have made any of these, it's not the end of the world. People make mistakes. But by being aware of these, you know how to navigate the waters a little bit better now. By taking these into consideration, you're really going to help yourself get a stronger financial footing when it comes to long-term financial goals and keeping those finances on track. And if you do have any other mistakes that you can think of, let me know those in the comments down below. Share them with the community. And it's just a good idea if we can share a longer list of mistakes that maybe you have some personal experience with in the comments. And so the community, or particularly people who are new to financial literacy, understand that mistakes do happen and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel or haven't done so already, please take a moment and just click the subscribe button down below, and we'll see you next time.